Okay, we're going to talk about how to add a new tenant to your Quicken account. I am not going to go into how to set up a new company. You need to consult with your accountant as to how best to group everything together. So we are not going to cover that. I'm going to assume that you already have your Quicken set up and you are ready to start adding customers. I've set up a demonstration account just for this video here. When you open Quicken, you will get this screen. What we're going to do is click on Customers to add a customer. As you can see, I already have some in here. We're going to click on New Customer, and we're going to add a new customer, and you will get this screen. If you notice over here on the left, all of my accounts start with the street name. It's much easier to locate what you need if you do it this way. Don't put in the numbers first, because then it's a mess trying to find something quickly, especially if a tenant calls in with a question. So when you get the screen, we're going to put in the address first, and let's just say Farnsley Avenue. I then put a backslash. I put in the rent amount. I then put in our late fees are $50 when the rent is not received on or before the 5th. We put in the 5th because our rent is due on the 1st. You have a grace period through the 5th. And then on the 6th day, we start charging $5 a day thereafter. And that's just our system. You will have to decide what your late fees are going to be. For example, they're $50 for our houses, and the late fee on the 6th is $25 for our apartments. Just depends on what you decide to do. And then I always put the tenant's last name here. Let's just say it's Bishop for this example. And you can either tab down or you can use your mouse. And let's say it's Ms. Carla Bishop for this example. Notice it puts the name down here. Always go back in, and you know what? I didn't put the street address here. 502 Farnsley. Come down here then and put in the street address, city, state, and zip. This will be used when you print out statements down the road, whether it's a 7-day or a balance due. So you will need to fill this in every single time. Always put a phone number in here. That way you will be able to contact the tenant and put any alternate numbers in here. If you look up here kind of to the top to the right as we're putting this information in, it will show up here. Some of this information doesn't show. The alternate phone does. Some of it doesn't show up, so just kind of be careful what you put in. Let's say this person has a sister named Anne, and you can put her contact number here, and you can put an email address here. Sometimes I can't reach a tenant, and it's great to have an email address. I also personally like to know what the security deposit is at a glance and what the lease is, and I use the terms and the price level for this. Quicken really isn't set up to be used specifically for landlords, so you will be able to take some of these other fields and fill in what you want. I go under additional information, and then under terms, our security deposit will be $500 for our example, because we always make the security deposit the same amount as the rent, or usually. Sometimes we charge more, sometimes we charge less. It depends on the situation, but it's a safe bet that's at least what the rent is. The price level, in this case, let's say we did a 12-month lease. It's already in there. Hit OK. So now we have our new tenant. These fields here can be shrunk or made bigger so that you can actually see the information that you want to see. You can see as little or as much as you want. As you can see here, we haven't added any statements or anything in here yet. So the first thing that we're going to do is go under New Transaction, and we're going to put the rent amount in for this brand new tenant. Let's say they moved in on the 1st of November. We're going to choose rent, and we're going to enter the amount of the rent. What I like to do, and it's especially helpful if you have a lot of tenants, is memorize the transaction, and we'll talk about how to pop out these rents in a little while. Go up under Edit, hit memorize the statement charge. We're going to add to group. I'll show you how to add a group. And in this case, I called this a demonstration group and hit OK. That has now been added to the group of tenants that we can process the rents, we can add the rents for the next month. And I always like to put November rent, December rent, whatever the rent is, and hit record. So now we have this tenant showing a $500 balance here. We have it here, and then you can see here in the ledger that we're actually in. The next thing that we need to do is add the security deposit. You can do one of two things. You can either select it here and just choose that, or you can go under new transaction and choose statement charges. Either way will work, it's not a problem. And we're going to go down here and choose security deposit. Okay, why is it giving me that? Let's see here, and then $500 and record. And then we're going to assume the tenant has made the payment because we won't actually give out the keys unless they do. We'll close this and see now we have a balance of $1,000. We're going to receive payments, and you will see that the account numbers here, or the customer is listed here. This is Bishop, and in this case they gave us a $1,000 money order here, and you can choose a money order. Actually, if it's a Western Union, I go in and add Western Union or whatever the brand is, but let's say generically speaking it's a money order. I put the number here, and then I like to put West Union and then the date that they actually bought it, because a lot of times that will be different. You can use this if you want. I would always recommend putting, especially if you have a check, putting the bank number. You would put your check number here if it's an actual check, and you can add whatever payment methods that you want, and we'll look at that here in just a second. So we're going to save this, and now the tenant has a zero balance. We talked a little bit about memorizing the transactions. When you first set this up, if this is brand new and you don't have any tenants in here, you can go under lists and then your memorize transaction lists. And you can set up a group here. You'll choose new group, give it a name, whatever you want to call it. And let's say it's called, your company name is called Roberts LLC, and you can add that, and now you have this group. So whenever you add a customer, you'll be able to choose what group you want it in, and it's really simple to do. Then list wise, if you need to go in and add cash, check, whatever your payment is, it's under list, customer and vendor profiles, and this is QuickBooks 2011, so this may be slightly different if you have a newer version. Payment method list, and then you can add whatever payment that you like here, whatever method you will accept. So that's fairly simple to do. Now if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Let's say you've entered this and this is incorrect. You can delete this. You go under edit and delete the statement charge. Just be on the statement that you want to delete. Hit delete the statement charge and hit OK. And now you can just do it again or enter whatever you want to enter. It's not a problem. So it's pretty straightforward. You can put in here whatever charges you need to. You can make any comments that you want. Sister lives next door. All of this can always be edited. I like to put in here also lease starts 11/1/2014. Whatever information you want, you can use this. You can fill this up as much as you want. I've gotten in the habit, if a tenant calls and says, hey, you know what, my check isn't going to be given to me until the 7th of the month, I will say, sorry to hear that. You will be getting a 7-day letter, and I will go in and edit the notes, and I will say, let's say they called me on the 29th of October. I'll say tenant paying 11/7/14, so that I will know when that tenant is going to pay the rent. Doesn't mean I won't still send a 7-day letter, but at least then I kind of know they're not skipping out and they are going to actually pay the rent. So fairly simple. Once you have at least one in, you can then go back and click through them and you can see how to add. If you forget, you can see you have a template. You can see that you've got the street name, the address, the rent, the late fees, fifth number, the $5 a day, and the tenant name. So it's easy. You'll have a template once you actually get one in there. And that's pretty much all there is to adding a brand new tenant.